Oh yeah, you gotta do it officially.
There might be 20 people late, right?
I got a little something wrote down. All right, spooky
We have our
spectators.
official intro. Yes.
Spooky spectators. Thank you for coming for day 2. Unfortunately, it's the final day here at Spooky Spectacle, but we're having a good time. So, if you're like me, are you so sick of the traditional weddings, the black tie affairs? Are you so over the dum-dums? Do you want something different? Do you want something weird? But you don't know who to call? I do. It's Weirdo Weddings, and she's gonna tell you all about her different weddings, and she's brought along a special guest, and I'm looking forward to this. This is an interactive, so be ready to ask your questions during and after the show. So, or her little spiel. So, without further ado, Weirdo Weddings.
Oh my god. And what is it you do on the side? You said you're an introducer for wrestling?
I do wrestling, announcing, and
This is why I had him do the intro. I was like yesterday I said, please do an outro. I think I need an intro and an outro.
Yeah,
Super fun energy.
Yeah, that was a fun one.
Oh my gosh. So I'm Jen with Weirdo Weddings. I've met some of you already, which is fabulous. You've either been to my table or you've had a short discussion with me. Today I wanted to do a panel on what it's like to not only be Weirdo Weddings, but to work with weirdos. And I kind of wanted to run through how a wedding goes, but also how events go and how you can plan and be thematic and crazy with your weddings. But I actually dragged her here yesterday at the last minute because if you haven't seen her booth, she makes what caught my eye last year was all of her little weird eyeball bouquets. And I was like, we need to talk. And then today I was like, why don't we just drag her on here? Do you want to introduce yourself real fast?
I am Jamie. I'm with Upsy Daisy Designs. We're a floral company out of Bluffdale, just going west of here. And the weirder the better on the weddings, because we get burnt out on like all the, the blush, the whites.
Blush seems to be very popular.
It's like 80% of my weddings. So I like when we can get kind of weird and funky, doing all different types of themes. So
yeah,
super fun.
So this is gonna be a loose talk, but we both have booths downstairs. We kind of want to get back to them, but we also want to have fun with you. So please feel free to interact with us.
In fact, we're right across from each other.
Yeah, we're right across from each other. It was strategic this year, I think. So I call this when nerds get married because I was a nerd. I got married. I actually did a Blue Man Group theme wedding. I also did a Blue Man-ish theme vow renewal this year, only like 4 or 5 months ago. So it's just a quick discussion about what it's like to get creative with their weddings or events. Any events that you want to do and have themes. I think it's super fun to talk about because a lot of people get really, really creative really quickly when we let them.
Yeah.
So the points of discussion, we don't have to go all through these, but I think it's important that we have 2 wedding industry people here if you do have any comments or questions. A lot of couples don't know what to do for their ceremony, and lately I've just been letting people do what you want. Make it as short as you want, make it as long as you want. If you just want to do a hand fasting, not even a ring exchange. I had a couple do that one time and it freaked me out because I was like, I feel like I need to get a photo of your ring exchange even though it didn't happen.
Right.
So there's a lot of different ways you can do your ceremony these days. Do you have any comments on that as we kind of run through these really quickly?
Yeah, some people are like really scared to express themselves and everything, but just go with it. I don't care if it's not popular or whatever. Do you, and don't be scared to do whatever you want. Like the funkier it's more memorable anyway.
Yeah.
And
we have a lot of cosplayers in this room, so they understand being creative.
Right. So that's.
Yeah, and your themes, obvious themes, like when you're designing your wedding, even if you're going to the JP, like we discussed, they went to the JP.
Yeah, we did.
And I said, even if you're going to the courthouse, I did a whole podcast interview on courthouse weddings are not boring. They're only boring if you think they are. I think you can make them super fun and make a super fun portrait session out of it. Also, if you can decide personally, if you want to go very subtle, I've had Alice in Wonderland be super subtle. I've had Alice in Wonderland be completely crazy tea party eccentric. I think that's important when you're thinking about your wedding. How crazy extreme do you have any examples of an extreme wedding you've worked?
Yeah, okay. So I've done 4 Star Wars weddings, right?
Oh boy.
They've gone from simple touches to we got our lightsaber bouquet holders and everything.
And May the 4th is on a Saturday in 2024.
Yes.
So we're excited.
Yeah. And they pretty much all fall on that day. It doesn't matter if it's a Tuesday, they're gonna do it.
Of course. But I'm excited it's on a Saturday because people don't get married during the week sometimes.
I would say the wildest one though was Nightmare Before Christmas, Star Wars, and Beauty and the Beast all rolled into one. And it actually worked. And it was on Halloween, so people had costumes.
I kind of need to see the photos.
I'll show you.
I want to see the blend. Can you, my head is spinning what the blend would be. But I love that because you can take anything you love and blend it, put it in a blender, and then make it happen.
Yeah.
That's how kind of I see it. And this is a very popular topic. When you get pushback from your family, friends, whoever has an opinion, there's always going to be disapproval on most things in our life. There's always going to be somebody. I personally think it's important to not let that run your life. If there is something that you really want to do, like I had a Blue Man theme wedding, again, my parents thought I was crazy. They really didn't try to talk me out of it, but they certainly did not support me. Have you seen this a lot in your clientele or even in your own life at some point, and some of your friends or you or whatever?
Yeah, I've had some people, like, they wanted to do, like, Alice in Wonderland or something, and their mom's like, no, I don't want to pay for that. I'm like, well, is it your wedding or theirs? Like, I totally get it. Like, it's supposed to be for the bride and groom, obviously, and for the guests, but still, you just want to express yourself and do what you want to do, you know?
Yeah, and I cannot count how many times somebody's been talked out of elf ears, and it has made me so sad, because how can I have a Lord of the Rings wedding without some elves showing up? So I have been so sad, and including wings too. Do you have your hand up, or are you just relaxing?
Yeah. Can you expand on the Blue Man wedding like a little bit?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna get to that for sure. I can a little bit. So have you seen Blue Man?
Yeah. That's what
So-
I'm wondering, like, how many people committed to putting blue on it?
Oh, unfortunately, nobody except for two of my friends. They were at my reception. I have a little photo in here. But if you've seen the theater show, they also have bathroom songs that are specifically designed for the bathrooms. So I took the, mind you, this is 2005. We didn't have all this fancy digital technology we do now. So I think it was like an MP3 that I put on a CD in the bathroom. So I had the music, I had my waiting song was Dulcimer by Blue Man Group. I had two friends dressed up as Blue Men. I wore platform Skechers underneath my dress. I did favors that were kind of Blue Man related.
What did y'all use for the blue? Like, what was your...
So back then, we were still using Maron specific blue paint. That's how they paint. Actually, they still use that color. So this cobalt blue on my shoes, it's totally Blue Man blue. I almost always have something Blue Man on me. But yeah, so it was for me, it was a very subtle, but it was very important for me to have a lot of the Blue Man music, because that's what spoke to me the most. So it wasn't so much thematic as it was kind of subtle. And then towards the reception, at this point, the Complex Tour DVD had come out, and we had the airport wands, and so one of the Blue Men had an airport wands, and he was directing people to dance. It was really cute. And I have a picture to show, you'll see. And so yeah, like you're gonna have disapproval, and you're gonna have creative compromises with your partners, right? And with your family and friends. So like we were just talking about, like not everybody gets to do their elf ears because somebody talks them out of it. Is there any other examples that you have that maybe you've seen lately? Yeah, there's just a lot of whimsical fantasy that people just think it's too kitschy and childish.
Yeah.
I've been hearing that a lot lately. I just came back from Florida, and there's a huge Disney wedding pro population there, obviously. So they're constantly getting clients that are super creative with all the Disney characters. All the characters are very whimsical, but they still have people having pushback on that. So I thought that was very interesting.
Oh, there was one.
Yeah.
I did a fairy tale wedding, and it was all the different fairy tales per each table. And the mom,
that's a lot of work.
I know. And the mom thought that was just crazy and too much going on. But it really worked, and each table was cool, like Peter Pan, Cinderella, all the different. It was also like really magical and everything.
And I don't have a photo of it, but my friend was so nerdy that she did all the doctors from Doctor Who, all 13 at the time.
Oh, wow.
And the Lady Doctor was just coming out, and she dressed as the Lady Doctor leaving her own wedding. So I thought, I mean, how much more nerdy can you get? Like, the character hasn't even come out yet, and you're barely seeing pictures of the next Doctor. She was that person. It was great. And always, this is the last point, this is kind of like a more formal discussion, and expectations. And I think when we're thinking about expectations, when we're as wedding pros working with our clients, we always have to manage expectations of what you actually want for your wedding day. Or your event, actually. Like some people, like my two clients, one was a backyard wedding. They had expectations. They dressed it up like crazy, and they were like, we're gonna get married in our backyard. They had their Lord of the Rings music. I guess the only thing they were missing was the elf ears, you know. I want elf people getting married. The one when I came home, it was almost a fully all-inclusive venue, and there was a couple things that went wrong, but it's like their expectations of, oh, here's what happened, okay. The officiant dropped the vows out of the book, and they were about ready to read vows to each other. and it was two ladies, and they're like, we're gonna read vows, and it's gonna be so magical and special. He skipped it completely. Did the ring exchange. The vows fell out. He never picked them back up. I was like, that's sad. So they reread them at the reception, but it wasn't the same. They really wanted to say it in front of everybody who was there, and it was really sad. So that's an expectation that they had that did not happen. It didn't go the way they wanted it. Have you seen some of that in your jobs?
Yeah, I also noticed like people that are doing weddings or events, like they have these pictures in their mind, like Pinterest, and Pinterest is great for ideas and stuff, but we can't make it exactly like that. Sometimes we can make it look even better, but we can't make it exactly like that, not all the time, but we try our best.
Yeah, that's another thing about being an artist. Like, we don't want to rip off somebody else's work, right? A lot of us artists don't want to do that. Pinterest is great to a point.
Yes, I know. I'm like, we can do like that, but it won't be like exactly.
Yeah, you always have to manage the expectations of the designs and the photography and everything involved, especially when you're setting an event together.
Okay.
So this is like the basic points that I had put together. Again, I'm so glad you could join me today because I just would be talking to myself. So I kind of want to show you a few examples of some clientele. This is the Wizard of Oz.
It's my favorite.
So we decided to do 2 bouquets. And we have the 10 man, which is technically the 10 person at this point, getting married. And you know what my idea was? Because I can't stop having ideas. This is a style shoot, but this is a real couple. I was like, please, can we have a funnel veil? I was like, I really, really need an oil funnel veil. And she's, my friend of mine put that together for me. And we did 2 faux flower bouquets. And then we dressed him up as kind of like, this hint of green is from the wizard. And then he was actually kind of like a scarecrow lion mixture. So he's got the straw, but he's got the crazy hair like the lion. So we just had so much fun doing this. This is obviously at Lizzie Gator. If you've been to my table, you've seen the Cricket Chapel. It's kind of at Lizzie Gator. On the right side, we actually have the cake where the actual cake designer who helped me do the veils, she did the cake. So it's actually a hot air balloon. I just don't have the whole photo. But that just goes to show you how almost exact like her work was to the work that I wanted to present. And I helped guide the styling. I didn't do all of the styling, but her hair is normally blue. And I just thought it was wonderful.
And even go to the chapel.
Yeah, everything about that chapel is whimsical and crooked and weird and
Yeah.
So the great thing about this is that later on I realized that I was missing a color tone from this set. You know how you have the ruby red, you have the emerald green, and my friend Kate shows up with this beautiful floral arrangement of yellow roses.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, my yellow brick road has arrived. And so really that was the main thing that really, it all came together. You'll have to get with me for the full spread, but I just wanted to give you a little teaser on that because it's like one of my most favorite things. And then, so this is another Lizzie Gator photo. I just could not help but show that the fact that you can take any theme and make it your own, and these two just know how to work on costumes. I don't know where they came up with all these horns and skins and furs and faux furs, and she just designed this giant Viking horn herself, and I was like, what are you, it's as tall as you are. But it just goes to show you how crazy you can get. If your personality is a little crazy, then let it be. That's kind of how I see it, and that's their property, and that's their art, and they own it. I love that they own who they are. So yeah, I put woodsman, earth tones, big giant props. And this, I wanted to kind of show you that when you're designing or thinking about a wedding or event, you can use these textures and different kinds of colors. Also the scale, this fake cake, this is a fake cake, by the way. My friend does these. If you decide you don't want a real cake and you just want something fancy, she does these faux cakes. Maybe you put like a real layer in there somewhere. But the fact that we just use this for a Phantom of the Opera series, and then I bought the little candelabra on top, and the candles melted a little too quickly. And so I got 2 photos in before the candles went. That was really funny. But yeah, the scale that you want to do at your wedding or on your table or with your eyeball flowers, like she's brought over here, which I'm really obsessed about. But I like the fact that not everybody's using real things is my point. Like some of this is sustainable. You can keep this cake if you want to. These are paper flowers of various different patterns that's put into, I think it's even like a wooden jar of some sort. But this is from a wedding it was a real wedding where their colors were mainly that hot pink and then everything, but like they mixed it with these beautiful grays and then textured pinks as well as these creamies. So I just really think that you can get really creative on the things you want to do. You want to speak to that, a little bit of the design there?
I was going to show them the skull. On the skull, like about the textures, they're very important to me. Like these pops of pumpkins going on right here and then like these little branches. Like if I didn't have that, it would look so bland. So textures are your friends, for sure. Like I always add into everything. Some of them are spiky, some of them are soft, doesn't matter. Just make sure you.
I saw some of them with like crystals inside their eyes, and I was like, oh, it's the
Yeah.
kingdom of crystal skulls
I
over
did
here.
like sugar skulls. I did like, king of crystals, all that stuff. I did mermaids, you name it. Just make it your own, whatever you do,
Oh, that's lightweight too. You can throw it.
Yeah,
in
you
the
can
air.
throw that.
But don't throw it. So yeah, this is just a fun way to show you being creative. This is me out finding inspiration. When I'm, as an artist, I'm always looking at ideas, and we can take in a lot of ideas for our clients too by exploring art pop-ups. We can go to Ren fairs. I go to Ren fairs. I did a whole series on a pirate wedding.
Yes.
That's me kind of dressed as a pirate, and I was doing like this. I'm kind of like making a documentary, sort of what it's like to get married at the Ren Fair, kind of a thing. And then that's me in Vegas at Wink World with the black lights. With my hair actually does glow in the dark and the black lights. So it's just me being artistic in general helps my clients. I feel like. Do you want to speak to that as well? As far as do you find inspiration somewhere?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, especially the Renaissance Fair, you find a lot of inspiration because there's so many different artists and different things they're doing.
Kind of like here. There's a lot of cool artists here.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like we all probably go to the Ren Fair most likely.
Yeah, most likely we all went there at some point.
But yeah, I definitely feel that for sure.
Yeah, so getting out of your own box, even if you're an artist and you're just kind of taking mental notes on what you want to do as an artist, then get yourself out and about, get inspired by other people. So welcome to the Spooky Spectacle, another way to get inspired. So here's where you go. This is my wedding, okay? This is my wedding in 2005. I did not have pink hair back then. I had coppery golden blonde, which is more reddish orangish. But these are my two friends that I was telling you about that dressed up as Blue Man for me, and one of them does have their fake, airport wands. If you ever watched a plane come in and they're like flailing it and then it turns into an X, so they tell them to stop when they're parking the plane. So I have a very basic dress on. Back then though, it was all about the strapless, so I felt like I was a rebel doing straps. But underneath all that floof is my platform Skechers, and then again, the Blue Men are either eating food or directing me to dance, especially in that photo. But you'll notice like the one thing I didn't do, and this is very important, is I didn't hire a photographer at all. So I have very little photos, and I know this is a different culture from 18 years ago, but the same remains today. If you don't have any photos of anything or any prints of anything, your memory is gonna fade one day and you're gonna be like, oh, I don't know what happened in my life at this year of my life. So I have a photo of what happened to me 18 years ago, which is great, because I can remember that, and I'm all about nostalgia, reliving memories. So as a photographer, that's kind of my job, is to make sure everybody. And that's what I did on my vow renewal. I said, I have to bring somebody in that will capture this for me. I don't have to worry. I don't have to think about things, and my friend nailed it. I had a spin art inspired bouquet. If you've ever been to the show, it's actually, they do a spiral painting with 3 different colors. So I told her, can you just do the pink, the blue, and the yellow, and just make me a spray? And she did. And of course, there are tiny little yellow roses too. I was like, what? How did you do that? And like blue feathers are spilling out of it. And then I had the dress that I'm wearing is actually my own personal spin arts that I made into a digital print, and I did a whole dress for myself. Because you can do that, it's pretty cool. You can actually take your own art and put it on a dress. It's pretty neat. My husband just so happened to have a cobalt blue shirt, and I was like, yes, you're gonna match me. And then of course I did my hair all fresh. But yeah, we're live on Kid Craddock in the Morning, and if you've been in DFW long enough, then you know who Kid Craddock in the Morning is. Obviously he passed in 2013, but that's where I got engaged. And I think when you go make something official, it's kind of good to revisit where you came from, and especially since I've lived in Dallas for over 23 years, I figured going back to Kid Craddock in the Morning, say, hey, can I do a vow renewal live on the air? And they're like, sure. And scheduling was a nightmare. And especially with my husband with a full-time job, and then me being an artist, I was like, we got to get this done. He's like, 2 more weeks. And I'm like, no, I don't have 2 more weeks. I want to do it now. But we got it done, so I'm so excited that I have this moment to celebrate. I have it. I'm genuinely happy in this moment, and I think that's why photography means so much to me. And any event in your life, honestly. That's like I said, vow renewal, JP, courthouse, go get it captured. And so this is just, we can go through this. I think it's important when you're doing any kind of, even that vow renewal. Communication is important. You don't be worried about trying to do trendy things. You can also do timeless inspiration. This is kind of why I wrote this on here. This is all like spews out of my brain. My BMG themes are timeless because they're still around. They're 30 years going strong, I think. Like, their show is still timeless in its fashion. Your ideas do matter, and don't let people talk you out of your own ideas. I think fighting for them is actually part of the journey of life. I think with everything, right? Like, we're constantly fighting on things we want to do and we're passionate about. It doesn't come easy. Me standing up here doesn't come easy, but I've had such a blast pushing myself and fighting for the things you want to get out to other people. Regrets is really what I just told you. You have sucky photos from your wedding in 2005 because you didn't bring any on board. But regrets that you didn't do the thing that you wanted to do in the time that you wanted to do it because you were too scared or you let somebody talk you out of it. That's when I say regrets. But like I shared yesterday, I did my crow cosplay. I can't do it this weekend because of the face allergy, but I did my crow cosplay from college when it came out in the 90s. If y'all are, fans of the original Crow with Brandon Lee, it's definitely.
Aren't they redoing it?
So. It's so weird to watch it now because it's so cheesy, but I'm like, man, back in the day, it was like, that was the movie to watch.
I still think it's cool.
It's still cheesy and cool at the same time.
I watch it every Halloween Eve.
Yeah.
That was nice.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Fire it up.
Yeah,
Fire
yeah.
it up. So, yeah, like that was the thing. Like the soundtrack was awesome. Brandon Lee, it was big because it was Bruce Lee's son, and then he got killed on the set. I'm like, oh my God, this is so weird. But I wanted to cosplay it so bad, but then I was like, you know what? This year I decided I'm just gonna do it. And I did. I did it at Frightmare. You saw me.
I was there.
I can't do it right now, but I will do it in the future when my face is all healed up. But that's something like, just don't be afraid to step out and do the things that you have been sitting on, because I don't think, like he was asking about his daughter, like you're never too young, you're never too old. Just go do it.
Yep.
And more fun examples, because I love visual examples. Again, I just made this at the last minute. Okay, this is a Good Omens. Has anybody watched the show Good Omens with David Tennant?
Yep.
That's the only actor I know. And the other one I know him, but I can't remember what he's in. So I had a wonderful non-binary couple call me, and they're like, yeah, we want to do Good Omens. I want to be Aziraphale, and the other one's going to be Crowley. And I said, how are we going to do that? What do you want to do? So we have a black dress with very masculine shoes with a snake. You can't see it in this photo, but a snake around her arm, or their arm, and then she had like bright red contacts, and then black feathers was added at the last minute. And then this is I did the screenshot of the actual show, and then them kind of recreating the characters. I know it's kind of tiny on this TV. But so we had a lot of fun doing this. And this doesn't count as elf ears, but they did wear angel elf ears, like little metal ones. Again, lots of cool little accents from the show that only they would know, maybe. If you're not a fan of the show, then you wouldn't know. They knew, and they love these photos. This is just what is basic about horror and Halloween? Addams Family. But again, you were talking about textures. Okay, this is a good, perfect example of blending two different colors together with textures. And this is a ribbon that has like bloody drips on it. Okay.
I need that.
I know, it's amazing. And then you have this is actually a dessert tower, but they didn't put the dessert on it yet. But I was like, well, I can't wait around for that. That's another thing, timing at events, right? And this is a mixture of crystals, black tree limbs, and then this beautiful maroon color with just simple greens. And I just love the fact that the family put all this together.
Wow.
It wasn't even a planner or anything. The family put it all together. I'm not saying DIY everything, but if you're creative, go for it. But this was kind of Addams Family mixed with horror, because they all came down in the horror character masks, like Ghostface, the Plague Doctor, good Lord, Jason. Like everybody came down the aisle. They didn't tell me that either. I'm there like, wait, is this a thing? Oh crap! Click, click. And then they took them all off later, but Okay, so at Lizzie Gator here, this is my Halloween wedding last year. They did. You can't see it because it is kind of like a group photo, but all the girls are vampires. And all the guys are legitimate zombie with a prosthetic artist, did every face. And we also have our Michael Jackson Thriller. Yeah, there was a lot of this happening, and it was so great. I don't think he had the glove on, though. I can't see his other hand, but these two they had the most supportive wedding party in the world. Can you imagine sitting in prosthetics and getting prosthetics done for your wedding day? It's just, that's a whole other makeup job in itself.
I don't know how they had time.
You know what? as far as timing goes, adding that into the timeline, they did amazing. I don't know how they did
But they
that.
are guys. I mean, girls do take longer. So.
Well, the prosthetics though, the prosthetics took longer than that's like nothing.
I'm just saying when they don't have the prosthetics, the guys are running.
Oh yeah, they're running in 2 seconds. Matter of fact, the guys had so much time. We did a graveyard walk. They had a fake graveyard out there, and then we also did like a band photo where I was laying on the ground and they're all leaning over me like, "Argh." And I was like, this is amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that because they did a lot of DIY mixed with investing into photography and makeup. A lot of makeup investment in this, but it was stunning. Loved it. This is actually a weekend and a half ago. This is the couple I told you that got married in the backyard.
Oh.
But they could easily have inserted themselves into the Ren Fair because
That's where I thought they were.
that was their whole outfit. This is their backyard. I was like, this isn't a backyard. This is like a whole very whimsical. They have mushrooms, they have gnomes, they have all these little cool little things that this is their personal backyard. That's not going to change. Maybe the macrame will not stay outside, but you know what I mean. Like all these really cool things that they have in their living garden. And this is them tying the knot literally with the hand fasting cord. So they made their own hand fasting cord, and it was a little hot outside. And you can see the sun is at the top there. So we were at sunset, and it was kind of like, messing up my photos. Saying sun. No, it was fine. These are our wonderful non-binary clients too. That we went to the Perot Museum. How many of y'all have been to the Perot Museum lately? So we did sort of an engagement session here, and I gotta tell you, don't go on the earthquake platform and hit the highest setting, because I was just like, and it says to hold the handrail, but I was like, oh, I'm just gonna stand here. Just like, oh, my bad, hold the handrail.
Yeah.
So we explored the dinosaurs, we explored all the exhibits and did photos everywhere, but they just wanted something that wasn't normal photos. They wanted a different place, and we really loved playing on the escalator. If you don't know me long enough, I love playing on the escalators. They're so much fun.
And a few years ago, I actually did a wedding here.
Oh, do tell me.
I did a wedding here, and it was really cool. Well, first of all, setup's always fun in a museum. You get like 2 hours or less, because they shut the doors for the public, and then they want to start the wedding like at 6:30. So that's super fun. So we actually did the gym area, the gym level, or I think it's 5. You go up 5.
Yeah, it's so weird because you start at the top and then you go down.
Yeah.
Right? It's so weird.
Yeah, it's weird. So I was doing that, and like I was putting out all the flowers. They just had like hot pinks, pastels, normal kind of colors. But it was really cool. And then I saw like the placement cards, and I remember seeing earlier like dinosaurs with the same doctors' names, and I was like, oh, all the doctors are here. Like these 2 people were geologists, and they knew all these people.
That work with the bones?
Yes. Like they did all of it, and I was like,
fun.
can I go to this wedding? Like all the doctors that like found this, huge dinosaur. I was like freaking out.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I didn't stay though, but
I was gonna say that's the one thing. There was somebody working on a bone while I was there, and I was like, "Is this real life? Is this Jurassic Park all over again?" So yeah, we had fun. One of my most favorite photos is actually a T-Rex looking at the couple, like staring them down. Super fun.
that like long neck one, like the Brachiosaurus when
Yes.
you enter?
Yeah.
One of them was there from discovering that one.
Oh, how
I was
fun!
like, this is so
So cool. Okay, this is back to the Ren Fair. These are actually my pirate clients who just went full out with the pirate look. I picked this one mostly because you could see them facing forward with all of their garb on. But she actually had 2 different looks that day. And that's another thing too, like if you want to do 2 different looks, like I've had people like change clothes at least a couple of times. Guys and girls, whoever is getting married, they change clothes. She got into a pirate hat later, but she had this beautiful, almost macrame veil that went all the way down. She had a lot of hair, like down here. And he had the full, pirate stuff happening. We had a pirate officiant who's a very, and this is where the Mermaid Lagoon is, if you've ever been to Scarborough. I did not realize they had half of a pirate ship here, so we asked kindly if we could, that's why you see people standing over here. I'm like, I can't crap you out. I don't want to. But I just chose this photo so you could see that, when you're doing your event, whatever theme it is, it's just magical when you find props and places that kind of match what your theme is. That's why I threw this in here, because they're just so cute.
Oh, and can I say something real quick?
Yeah.
About costume changes, let me tell you about that. So I actually belly dance fusion, Monique does as well. And we do so many costume changes. So don't be scared to change, because I don't know how many we go through, but it's a lot. She's done way more too than me.
At least 5.
Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, my I lose time and space because of how crazy this week has been, but Thursday night we had the fire dancers. It wasn't fire spinners necessarily. I was expecting,
Here?
spinning. No, my
Oh.
wedding on Thursday
Oh,
night.
yeah.
And yeah, that was interesting because I don't think they scouted how low the tree limbs were on the platform, and they were wearing headpieces. I thought they were all gonna come out with their staffs and wands and spinny things. No, they had headpieces, and I was watching the taller one almost hitting the tree branch, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad. And then fire went out about halfway through the song, and I was like, oh, it's not the same with the fire not lit anymore. But God bless them, they finished. They had several outfit changes, they had fire changes, they had different routines, and they were yelling at the DJ to do the right song. Oh, it was just.
Sometimes we only have like 2-3 minutes to get dressed. And it's like
Yeah.
a totally different culture.
Yeah, y'all performers. I don't know if I could do it. Oh yeah, so that's the end of. I kept it sweet and short because I was like, it's something important that we all need to talk about every once in a while. When you're planning something, don't be afraid to be yourself. Ask for support if you do not have support. Get creative in your designs. Hire a photographer or a videographer to at least capture what you've already put together. And that goes for anything in your life. I've got people talking to me downstairs about their senior pictures already, and I'm like, you're 2 years not even being a senior yet. And I was like, this is impressive that you're thinking about it that much. When I was a senior, I just sat in the chair and I'm like,
I was like, oh yeah, we got 5 minutes. Let's do this.
yeah. The little director chair photos. That was so great.
Well, like, you know how you like have your own like personal ones sometimes, like, to get done or something? My dad did it, and he's not a photographer. He like did it from like below down there, and it was like.
Now, was this? Haven't asked how old you are, but was this film?
No, it was just like your regular throwaway camera.
Oh my God! Oh, don't get me started on some disposable cameras.
And yeah.
I don't think that photo I showed you of my wedding was a disposable camera, but it was pretty darn close.
Yeah, he never took my picture again. No.
You know what? And the one guy that we did bring out gave me my 24 beautiful photos, but I was like, I didn't know how to say back then that I wanted my whole day documented. So now I know it's called kind of like more like photojournalistic mixed with posed. Because now we're in a culture where all of it kind of matters, and I would have wanted to relive everything from getting ready to even the grandparents that wouldn't smile, because I married into a Czech family and they're just like, having a good day? Yep.
Well, it's really important too to document your day, like photographer wise and videographer, because you want to remember them, but also like you might think, oh gosh, they're so expensive, but like the higher you go, like usually the better quality. Because I have seen some pictures where it's like, oh yeah, I paid $200 for my photographer. I'm like, okay, and like I see the picture, I'm like, I could have done a better job. So,
Yeah, and I understand starting out too.
Yeah.
I started
My first wedding was
Yeah.
$75, but that was also 2007.
right.
That was 2 years after I got married, and I was like, I didn't even know you could do it as a
I mean,
business.
sometimes you do come across some that are really, a lot cheaper, and they do good work, but sometimes it's kind of scary.
Well, I just tell people, yeah, and that's another thing too. Like a lot of my clients, I was like, y'all don't understand. Like people are paying money, and their vendors are flaking out on them, and it's kind of scary
Or
sometimes.
there's scams.
Especially when you're trying to make it as a small business. I'm sure you agree too. Like we get scammed by people all the time for scammed inquiries too. We're just like, are you real? Like.
Right. I know I have people like make sure they keep confirming with me because they're like,
Yeah.
you're real, right? Like this is not a scam. I'm not sitting.
Yeah, and I totally over communicated these last 2 weddings. I said, just to let you know, I am a real person. I am going to show up.
Yeah.
I know you haven't. I do video calls because I'm like, if y'all just do a video call with me, I know you're real. I know I'm real. We get to meet each other.
I do like a final walkthrough so they know like I'm a real person. Because most book on email or whatever.
Yeah, and when you're working, do you just kind of show up? Do you do a setup, or do you just deliver? And
I do it all. Set up, deliver, take it down, all of it. I can even do the flip when they do the flip the room.
Oh snap!
Which is super fun when it's raining outside and there's like 200 guests and I'm trying to flip the room with tables.
Well, and this is what I've been hearing from all the people up north that are getting that extra special weather.
Yeah.
And they're like, what are we gonna do with our tents?
Yeah.
You just never know. Like, weather's a huge factor at events too. Like, you just never know when you're gonna get that tornado warning during the
Especially
wedding.
here. You just don't know.
Yeah.
It's so bipolar.
Yeah, especially when you get up, you get up north and you have the South Fort Worth that gets hit all the time, like Cleburne, for the tornadoes. And we had one up in Aubrey area one time, and I was like, the sky was so beautifully dark, but I was like, I don't want to be outside right now, but I have to photograph it.
Yeah.
Totally a storm chaser in a previous life.
Me too.
Right?
I really want to do that. Ask her.
Yes,
She's
yes.
a psycho.
I'm
She
just
would love
like,
to be a storm chaser.
a storm's coming, you're like, what do you got?
I know, I'm like, oh, look at this, let's go follow it. My kids are like, what are we doing?
Nothing. Well, is there any questions, answers, comments? We would love to open up the floor for y'all because I'm watching my time, and we have a few minutes here with you. And if you have any questions, I know I spoke with y'all briefly at the table. Do you have any questions, comments? We're open for ideas or thoughts. I'll give you the mic so you can sound official.
I know, Mike, you're not worried about that.
It just feels official when you have a mic.
You have the power.
Anything?
No.
It's okay if you don't. We can go back down to our tables and you can just come
Is there
find us
been,
later.
someone come up to you and you like, oh, I don't know if I can handle that wedding for whatever reasons. Like a reason you may have had to turn one down or tell, hey, I can't do it, but that's good. Or
Like it being too
you're
weird.
too weird, yeah, I mean, too weird.
I haven't run into that just
Yeah.
yet.
Like I said, that 3-theme one I did was interesting.
That's
But we
bad.
got
That is very
That's
interesting.
hard, but yeah.
I need to see the pictures from that multi-faceted one.
Yeah.
I haven't had to turn one down for that reason. I think normally I have to worry about double booking because a lot of people think they can call me within 2 weeks of their wedding, and I'm like, well, how do you know I'm available?
Yeah.
And I have to say no. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not available.
I used to also try to do like 3 weddings a day, which is insane. Just do one.
Yeah.
One a day.
I can do 2 at the Ren Fair though. The Ren Fair is
Oh,
easy.
yeah.
2 hours,
They
you're
have it
done.
already.
Yeah, that's all inclusive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could do it like, that's why I like courthouses. You're done in an hour and a half, and you're like, oh, I have something else to do the rest of the day.
Yeah. That's why I like those Thursday weddings too, because you can just enjoy the rest of the weekend. Do whatever.
Yeah, and for those of us who are in the events industry, y'all know that our Fridays are Mondays because that's after we're through working for the weekend. That's our time off is Monday, most times.
Yeah.
We get to recharge.
We're recovering.
Like tomorrow, I'll get to actually recharge from an entire week of wildness and fun.
Yeah. I know I have something Tuesday, but tomorrow I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, and that's the hard part, like learning how to shut down after you've been working events, and including this event. Like, if y'all want to get a little inside info on what it's like to work weddings and events, it's called a wedding hangover, and it's not because you're drinking; it's because you put your heart, soul, and energy into an event. It's a thing,
Yeah.
and you realize, why can't I move the next day? It's because you put everything into your event. Everything in your heart and soul and energy is gone and you're depleted. And I'm sure for even the cosplayers, maybe y'all have those things after you're done working, walking events and running around, taking off all your makeup. You're just like, oh my God, I'm so tired. I'm ready to be done for a while.
Plus,
And then you get up and do it again.
yeah. And like some venues, like they're like in the same building, but some are like, half a mile apart from the reception to the chapel. So you're like, wow.
Oh yeah, a lot. Okay, since you brought that up, the weirdest wedding I ever had, it wasn't because it was thematic, it was because it was 10 hours long at a YMCA in Massachusetts,
Oh my gosh.
where they did zip lining and all the summer camp activities in the morning. We had lunch, and I was bunking in bunk beds with all of the wedding pros as a part of the event. This lady comes in and says, by the way, I snore. And I was like, that's my nemesis. I can't sleep if somebody snores. But she didn't just snore. She sounded like she was killing something or something was going to eat her. And I have the video. I took video because nobody's going to believe me. And so I took video, and me and my assistant were looking at each other like, we can't believe we're here, but we're having a great time, but oh my God, we can't sleep. So that wedding went on all day long. She had a giant purple dress with a giant hoop skirt, and he had a white tux. He's got a little ponytail. And they were practicing their very choreographed dance off to the side. And then they had a big tent party, and every table had some kind of gaming reference, tabletop games of all kinds. And then she also had stuff that I feel like was from somewhere. I can't remember what Floo Powder's from. Does anybody know what Floo Powder's from? FLOO? I can't remember what that's from. So she had all this glitter bottles and like potions and things that were favors. And then after that, they had an after party, and I said, I need to check out and go copy your thousands and thousands of photos. I will not be seeing you at the after party. So technically, I worked 10 hours, but the wedding kept going into the next morning. And I was like, well, I've been hired for 10. Me and my assistant I was like, give me your photos. I'm literally copying all night long because that's my first order business's copy 4 or 5 times before I can sleep. So anyway, so that's the wildest wedding I've ever had. What's the wildest one you've ever had?
Like I said, like that Nightmare Before Christmas. Oh, I forgot to mention, I was 37 weeks pregnant.
Oh.
And so I actually drew out pictures because I had help and everything, and I was like, if I don't make it, here's like pictures of what the bouquet should look like, and they're like, oh my gosh,
That's
no.
something you don't think about.
Yeah, so it was just funny because they're like, yeah, we want like a church wedding. I'm like, okay, cool. And they're like, it's on Halloween. And then we're gonna go to the reception, and it's gonna be like Nightmare Before Christmas cakes. They had like Darth Vader masks. Their first song was the Beauty and the Beast song, of course, you know. I was like, man, but it actually worked. It was crazy, but I loved it. And I hope I get more Halloween weddings, really. It'd be awesome.
This is the season. I know it's on a Tuesday this year, but we don't care.
We don't care.
Yeah.
You can get married any day. Plus, it's usually cheaper at the venues.
Yeah, that's another wedding hack too. If you really are looking to budget for your venue, they like those off-kilter days.
I've had Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Usually the only caveat is that you have to see if your friends and family can make it, because sometimes people have real jobs and they have to work their 8 to 5, 9 to 5s. And I've had a whole wedding be halted for one person who decided that he got the times wrong. And so he's like, well, I gotta work till 5, and this is not a closed venue. It's somebody's property. And so I don't think we started till like sunset. And I was like, y'all know when the sun's gone, getting married in the dark. I think I did the photos by shop light. It was terrible. It's not my favorite.
Especially like late fall and winter, like
And
the sun
that-
goes down so
Yeah,
quick.
and you know, most of my weddings don't have coordinators and planners and people that keep timelines. I usually end up doing it if nobody's there.
Or sometimes they assume I'm gonna do their extra stuff, and I'm like, you gotta set aside time for that.
Yeah, you know, I've been a lot bolder now that I've been a photographer for this long. I'm like, okay, if y'all want photos that look like this, we gotta talk. We gotta do it this window right here, and then this window right here. And thankfully, this last wedding I did with the 2 ladies, we got all their family done. The dad was literally depleted of energy, so we went and did photos by his car because that's the only way we could get the photos. And I was like, well, this is another new thing. Been doing this for this long, but there's always something new. So I was like, whatever is best for his health, let's do it. But we have to get that photo. I said, we're gonna get this photo. Get over there to your dad.
Yeah.
It was awesome. So if there's no additional questions, answers, comments, we are ready to wrap it up. Y'all have been fabulous. Thanks for staying around and giving us a little audience here. We appreciate it. Give us a hand clap. That way we can, there's people here. Don't you? You want to do your outro?
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, you need the mic
Yeah,
again.
let's do that.
Please stay for the outro. He's so fabulous.
I tried. All right, they'll be downstairs. They're right across from each other, as I said. So, one more time, y'all give it up for Weirdo Weddings and friends. And friends. All right, thank you. We still got one more panel this afternoon, so stick around for that.
Awesome.
They got a lot to set up. It's going to be a unique musical experience. I was talking a little bit about it with them earlier. I'm very looking forward to that. So make your way up again for that. I think it's at 3.
Awesome.
I got to double check the time though.
Awesome. Can't wait. I'm sure, are we going to hear it from downstairs?
Oh yeah, be sure to stop by the booths downstairs and go see Ken Sagos and get an autograph.